Welcome to the Typical Skeptic Podcast, where we dive deep, you decide. Questioning the matrix, from UFOs, where the shadows alone reside. Rob Khalil busting myths like ghosts in the night. Paranormal probes, secret space ops, yo, we keep it real, no fright. Typical skeptical, seeking, never sleeping on the lies. Aliens, Anunnaki, black ops in disguise. From abductions to ancient scripts, we flip the script wide. TSP style, mile after mile, truth can't hide. Hold up, TSP crew assemble, we dismantle the fable. My lab's targeted souls, breaking out of the stable. Dogman howling, Bigfoot prowling, cryptids in the mist. Mandela the fifth, twist in reality, can't resist the twist. Soul trap snapping, reincarnation mapping, holographic dreams. Near-death visions, out-of-body missions, waking up the teams. No censorship here, we fear no elite scheme. Conspiracy kings ringing bells, hear the freedom ring. Skeptical seeking, never sleeping on the lies. Extraterrestrials, interdimensional highs. Welcome to the Typical Skeptic Podcast.
Welcome to Typical Skeptic Podcast. Be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Welcome to Typical Skeptic Podcast. Be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Typical Skeptic Podcast. I got my guest with me. I'm going to bring him to the stage in a second. He has an amazing story. I wrote tonight on the Typical Skeptic Podcast, welcomes first-time guest Justin Daubenmire, better known as the Blind Exorcist, for a serious investigation into Christian exorcism, demonic oppression, deliverance, trauma, and spiritual warfare. Justin is completely blind, but he believes his physical blindness has not prevented him from realizing and confronting forces most people cannot see. According to Justin, his journey began after enduring nearly 30 years of what he eventually came to understand as a demonic oppression and possession. His personal deliverance experience introduced him to renowned exorcist Bob Larson, whose techniques he studied before completing formal training at the International School of Exorcism. Today, Justin describes himself as a certified Christian exorcist and a deliverance minister. He conducts sessions virtually, hosts the Blind Exorcist podcast, and interviews people who say they have experienced spiritual torment, demonic oppression, and freedom through Christian deliverance. Tonight, we'll investigate how a completely blind man became an exorcist, Justin's personal battle with spiritual oppression, his own experiences undergoing exorcism, training methods of Bob Larson, how exorcists identified demonic activity, the differences between temptation, oppression, attachment, and possession, and whether trauma can create spiritual vulnerabilities, generational curses, and spiritual open doors, and a bunch of stuff. And I'm bringing him to the stage now. And Justin, thank you so much for coming on for the first time. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me, Rob, and hello to everyone watching. I'm excited to be here and coach, train, and answer questions.
Yeah, I think how someone I interviewed Dark Waters, and I put like one of the recent interviews I did with Dark Waters. I reposted it, and then I think someone from Dark Waters Entertainment saw that, and they reached out to me about having you on. And then when I heard your story, I was fascinated with it, especially because I've dealt with like entity attachments myself, and it still might be here and there, I'm trying to understand what it is,
Understood.
So what happened? How did you end up blind? What have you been blind your whole life, or what happened?
I have not. I lost my eyesight from type 1 diabetes and when I was 17 years old. So I got my license when I was 16. I was like, yes, independence. So I drove for 6 months, started having complications. It's called diabetic retinopathy. This happened in the late 80s, and I went for laser treatments on both of my eyes, and the treatments blinded me. So by age 17, I was completely blinded.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry you had to go through that. That's horrible,
It's been one of the best gifts I've ever received in life, strangely. Yes, it was challenging. Yes, I lost my identity. Yes, I was depressed, but processing through grief, outstanding experience throughout my life.
Have you ever heard of mind sight? Like they practice it at the current Psy games. Like I interviewed a guy's name's Hakeem Eisler, and he says they're actually practicing something at the Psy games called mind sight, where people are actually seeing with their mind abilities. Would you agree with that? That's a thing, and is that kind of what happens with you?
Well, no, I wouldn't say that for me. Just to give a little bit of background and context here, because my story is a bit bizarre. After going blind, I attended university as a blind student for a degree first in social work. 2.5 years I was in social work and trained a lot about family dynamics, family functions, family systems, dysfunction within families, childhood trauma, all the foundational psychological frameworks like Rogerian, Freudian, all those guys, right? So active listening, all this stuff. And I use those skill sets I was taught in exorcism because most people I work with come from trauma, and we'll get into this, but demons enter through trauma. That's one way. Okay. I transferred to computer programming, and I actually worked as a software engineer for 25 years before I retired. I'm 54 years old now. And I worked on all Microsoft technology. I was in Azure Cloud. I programmed microservices. I trained programming teams on domain-driven design. So I was a trainer for a lot of my career. And the reason I mention this is because I am a rational, logical, critical thinker. So it's not natural for me to believe in the supernatural. I was forced into this through my personal experiences. So that's just a little bit of, again, like if I never had personal severe paranormal conditions and actual demon possession myself, I would be a skeptic and believe that this is not true. But this is how I kind of got into this.
Can I ask you one question before we get into the demonic presence? Because I'm sure all the audience wants to know this. Like, how is it like getting around and stuff? Like, how do you? I mean, like, do you have like computer software that assists you, or do you have people that assist you, or like, is it or
yeah, sure, absolutely. I love to teach people how I do what I do. I use a Windows laptop, desktop, just like anyone else. I install software on there. It's called JAWS for Windows, JAWS for short. It is an audible voice that reads everything to me on the screen. So when I type the word "the," it speaks every key press to me out the computer speakers, THE. And then I hit the space bar, it says space. So this is how I was able to code as someone who's blind. If A is less than B, do this, else do that, right? So code programming is nothing but text, source code, right?
Yeah.
So this is how I use technology. Emails come in, it's read to me. I use an iPhone. It comes with a built-in screen reader. That's what this technology is called, screen reader. It's a computerized voice that reads the screen to you, thus screen reader. And all Apple devices come with voiceover, where you can you can just tell Siri, turn on voiceover, and it'll start speaking to you, and you can turn it off. But my text messages are all read audibly. I don't know Braille because when I started university in the mid 90s, there was a lot of talking technology already there. And so getting around, I have been trained to use a cane. So I use a white cane and, kind of tap around. I do use sighted guides. And fortunately for me, with my computer programming background, I love AI. I use AI a lot. And the blind community is very excited about AI because, for example, we have smart glasses that are coming. They'll be out here in a couple months. Very similar to Meta glasses by Facebook, but they're specifically made for the blind so that we can read a book. We can flip page by page, and the glasses has a camera in the center, takes a picture and reads it to us. So we can sit and read a book. If something we dropped on the ground we can't find, the glasses can look around and guide us to that object.
Dude,
like,
that's amazing.
Oh, yeah. It gets better. We got and I encourage everyone to find this on YouTube and watch this. You will be blown away. There's a device called Glide. It's made by a company called Glidance. And I believe their website is glidance.io. But anyhow, this device is 100% AI driven, and it's a replacement, if people desire, which of course I do, for seeing eye dogs or canes. And it's got very awesome cameras on it. It's on large, like 8-inch wheels, and you just hold it with your hand and the AI guides you. Literally keeps you on sidewalks. You could walk through the mall. It'll walk you around people. It will walk you to a door right by the handle and stop. It has vibration modes that, if something's low hanging, it might vibrate once. So they've come together and created this device where literally, as a blind person, I could hold onto this and go jogging. So this is revolutionary for blind travel. So I use Uber a lot to get around, but where I'm going to friends' homes, family homes, speaking events. So people are already waiting for me. But when I get this device, if I want to go to the mall and jump out and wear these smart glasses that will read menus to me, store names, and hold on to this Glide device and walk through the mall, I literally can independently go into a mall and go shopping entirely by myself.
Wow. I got a question for you. Your accent sounds familiar. Are you from Pennsylvania by any chance?
I'm from Ohio, Northeast.
Okay,
Ohio.
okay. You got the Pittsburgh Yinzer type accent. That's why like I can sense it. You know what I mean? Like I know that accent anywhere.
Yeah.
That's definitely a Pittsburgh, Ohio accent, right? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
So who's your football team? Do you have a football? Do you like a football?
Oh, I love the Steelers. I always have. Yeah.
Oh, nice. That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was raised in Youngstown, Ohio, a suburb of Youngstown, but it was a big steel city, Youngstown. We made a lot of all kinds of stuff for World War II. So it was like this big steel city. All the steel mills shut down, but because of that steel association and the Pittsburgh Steelers, that whole steel equals steel, a lot of people in this Northeast Ohio toward Pennsylvania love the Steelers.
Yeah. Are you excited about the new coach this year? Before we get into the well, do you like Mike McCarthy, and do you like the fact that Aaron Rodgers might be coming back?
I think so. Yeah. And to be honest with you, it's hard for me. I'll be honest. I am so busy as an exorcist. I don't have a whole lot of time to continue to follow, but I'm going to make it a point. I told myself this fall, I've got to get back and pick it back up. Yeah. The Steelers. Yeah.
So let's talk about and that's awesome. It's so cool that I can sense that accent. It's weird, It's like, yeah.
Where are you from?
I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I'm 20 minutes north of the city, and around like the Lower Borough, Katanning, New Kensington.
Okay,
I'm just doing vicinity around that area.
Cranberry. I used to work in Cranberry, Pennsylvania, for a software company.
I know where Cranberry is. Yeah, I know. I used to go to school out at La Roche, and okay, and, you know what I mean, like out in North Hills.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Pittsburgh's great, man. I went through a kidney transplant in January 2021, right in the middle of COVID, and I got transplanted at UPMC.
Wow,
Pittsburgh. Yeah, great team.
How'd you meet Dark Waters? Because he's from Louisiana, right?
Yeah, he's from Louisiana. He reached out to me and asked if I'd come on a show for an interview, and I said absolutely.
Yeah,
so I like how we met. He's great.
I've always deemed him as the master storyteller. You know what I mean? I think he really is. I love the way he tells stories. And Dude,
Yes.
I never listen to my old stuff back again, but like I could always go and listen to one of my Dark Waters interviews. You know, I love that dude for some
Yeah,
reason. You know,
he's a cool dude. He's great. I love interviewing with him, and we still keep in touch too. So it's interesting because he'll reach out to me and ask me if I can work with someone, or because he has a lot of people that talk to him, that have entity attachments or demons, and so a lot of people have reached out to me since that interview with him, and I've been working with people and helping them out, man.
dude, that's kind of what's going on with me, and I definitely I think we should probably go into your story of the paranormal first. But I'll just tell you what I've been dealing with for the past 2 years on and off. I've been dealing with something. It feels like astral parasites, and then it's on and off. Like it seems to like amp up during the full moons, and then it goes away, and then it'll come back. Like obviously I'm normal. I'm me. Like obviously I'm not possessed right now or anything like that. But like when
Yeah.
I go to bed tonight, if I try to listen to certain clearings because it feels like there's like an astral snake in my bed. Then it splits up into like astral parasites, and it'll try to like like kind of like loose feed off me or something. You know what I mean?
Sure,
And
understood.
I have so many friends who are energy healers and everything. Everybody's tried to get it out of here, and it just seems to persist. Like,
Right.
I don't know if there's a portal open or what's going on, but it's definitely. And then the other night, it felt like the entities were going in my ears and eyes and stuff when it was a full moon. It was like I don't know what to do. I'm like, it's on and off though. You know what I mean? It's not all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, understood. Understood.
Have you ever heard of something like that?
Oh, I've heard it all, brother. There's nothing you can tell me that I haven't heard. Okay. I'll just be honest with you. So you got to understand that, and that, I come from a Christian worldview, right? So
Yeah,
obviously I'm going to present information to everyone watching. Yes, I'm going to talk paranormal and everything, but, I'm always going to come back to Jesus Christ and a Christian worldview. And so, just I encourage people, keep an open mind. I talk with people in the new age all the time. They book, I offer free 20-minute consultations. So I've had new age practitioners book sessions with me just to come talk. I'm very chill.
yeah,
And um, I think most people who are into these practices have had trauma in their life, so they're trying to find something to bring healing to that trauma. And so, it's a way that people try to find healing. But from I work with people all the time. Like I just worked with a client that, she'd been in 50 different new age practices, and I don't know if you're familiar with that term new age, but it's just these conglomerate of practices, that spiritual practices, right, that are supposed to
yeah,
bring peace to people. So it's interesting, and I shared this on Dark Waters interview. It's like when I meet with these clients, I said, there shouldn't be a need for you to have 10 practices or 15 or 50 plus practices to maintain peace. Like these should work. Like you should be able to find one practice, and that should bring you peace that lasts. Like this shouldn't keep breaking. So then you got to go to the next one, and then that works for a little and it stops. Then you go to the next one, and that works for a little, and then it stops. So people are trying to find peace. So they use a spiritual practice for so long and it stops working. So then they go to the next and the next and the next. And from a Christian worldview, what happens is they're looking for that golden thread to tie all of this together to try to bring emotional healing, right, to the
yeah,
traumas they've experienced. So it's like, okay, we're going to do Reiki energy healing, then we're going to do crystal work, then we'll do mindfulness meditation, we'll do the law of attraction. I mean, on and on it goes. Like there's so many practices out there. I don't even try to keep up with them all because my clients that come, there's so many. But what happens is eventually people come to the place where nothing's helping, and nothing's permanent. They don't have permanent, unbreakable peace. So they start having a lot of paranormal problems, and the distant cleansings aren't working, and people coming in and doing sage cleansing isn't working. And so they're tormented, and they're tormented by demons, because a lot of these spiritual practices, as crazy as it sounds, opens people up to demons. And demons have one purpose: vexing and tormenting. So this is why a lot of times people in these practices, I work with energy healers, man, where they do an energy healing session and they've blacked out, and they can't get out of bed for 2 days. And so then they contact their guru and says, what's happening? Oh, I don't know. Maybe try a cleansing ceremony, or put salt down in the four corners. But they're literally in bed for 2 days and can't even get out, can't even move. So they come.
Shit.
Yeah, they come to me and they're like, what's going on? I say, you've got demons. And this is what's so crazy and interesting about this, man. These people are good people. Everybody that I talk to that's into these practices, they're compassionate people, man. They're kind. They want to help people. They want to help themselves. So it's not like these are Satanists that are going out and doing animal sacrifice and summoning Lucifer and casting black curses on people, right? These are people who really want to truly help. And so in their mind, when as a Christian exorcist I say these are demons, it's like, how could this be demons? Because I've seen it help my clients. So, it's hard for people to understand that this is demons when they see, for example, somebody get healed during a Reiki energy healing session, or like I always use this example because it's so good, man. A guy came to give me a quote on air conditioning for my house, and he goes, have you ever heard of Dr. So-and-so? And I said, no. He goes, oh man, he's an energy healer. So he said, there's like 500 people in a room and they're all meditating and tapping into universal energy. And there was a guy there in a wheelchair, and he stood up and he was completely healed, like literally fully healed. I said, okay. I said, I'm a Christian exorcist. And he was like, you're kidding me. I said, no. And he's like, I was raised Roman Catholic. I said, well, then you understand exorcism. I said, you want my perspective on that? And he was like, yeah. I said, okay. So these people are meditating, and there's 500 of them there, and they're drawing on this energy, and they're wanting somebody to get healed. This man in the wheelchair has a demon in him that causes the infirmity to keep him in the wheelchair. So Satan's standing there in the room, and he looks at that demon of infirmity and says, when I tell you to let go of that man's body and come out, you're going to do it. So they're all meditating, what they think, building up universal energy. Satan's standing in the background with a smirk on his face. And then he points to that demon of infirmity and says, loose his spine and come out of him. And the guy jumps up, I'm healed, I'm healed. Now all of a sudden, 500 people may never learn about Jesus Christ. And they're on a journey of energy, universal consciousness, oneness. And the whole time, Satan is loving it because they've been deceived. Now, first of all, let me say to everyone watching, thank you for your patience. I am a Christian exorcist, and I know sometimes this can sound offensive. I'm not meaning it to be in any way, shape, or form. I'm just sharing perspective.
Yeah. And I like to get all perspectives, you know what I mean? Especially for my situation. It's been going on for like a while now, and it's like, it's like, how did you get into this? Like, how did you get into the field? Like, what started you in it?
Yeah. So back to my logical, critical thinking mind. I was raised in a Christian home, but it never really did anything for me. I think a lot of people can relate to that. And so at 19, I had a severe case of pericarditis. I almost died. And it was at that point that I became a Christian, because I'm like, when you face sincere death at 19, you're like, this is serious. So I need to figure this out. So I chose Christianity. And so I surrendered my life to Christ. And it wasn't a couple weeks past that severe paranormal demonic attacks started in my life. And when I say severe, Rob, I mean severe. I'm not talking like this is, okay, I'm talking like demons come into my room, cause demonic sleep paralysis, jump on top of me, choke me, scratch me, rip me off of my bed. We're rolling around on the floor. I've got bruises, knocking nightstands off. This is how severe the demon possession was that I had. It was bad. And because of this, I was forced to accept the reality of demons. And so my demon possession, and this is on my podcast, everyone listening, you can check out the Blind Exorcist, listen to episode 1. It's my actual story. If you're interested, no pressure. I'm not here to market my podcast. Okay. I just wanted to mention it because people are interested. Like, how did you get into this? So, I had a friend one time. He was a missionary and he had went to Hong Kong and he had seen demon possession over there where people were foaming at the mouth, eyes rolled back in their head. And he came back from that mission trip and he was talking to me, and we were in my parents' basement at the time. This is shortly after I was a Christian at 19. I might have been 20 at this time. So he said, "You want me to pray for you?" And I said, "Sure." You know, I'm like, I know I have demons. I don't know how to get rid of them. Well, when he started praying for me, a demon took me over. I blacked out. I had no consciousness of it whatsoever. And it looked out my eyes, which are completely blind. And it said to my friend, now this is from my friend Bill. He explained this to me afterwards when I came back to consciousness. But this demon looked through my eyes and looked at Bill and said, "What a pretty pink shirt." And he had a pink shirt on.
Whoa, that's fucking crazy. Excuse my
Yeah.
language. That's insane.
No, it's okay. It's fine, man.
He's like, your eyes are blind, so it means
exactly
that really seeing through
and
your
it
eyes.
it sent chills up my friend. He don't know what he's doing. He's not an exorcist. And so this is the type of severe paranormal conditions I had in my life. So glasses moving across the kitchen counter from one side to the other. This was like next level. And not everybody has this level of possession. So I went to these pastors in these churches and they said Christians can't have demons. So they couldn't help me. And the thought never crossed my mind to go to a Catholic church and ask for an exorcist. It just never crossed my mind, ever. And I'm convinced it was because of the demons in me, keeping me from having that awareness. And so I suffered for many years. I got married in college. Demons would come out in my marriage. My wife knew about it, and we would just pray together and Jesus help us, this type of thing. But eventually, I found Dr. Bob Larson. I think I was 48 years old, and I lost my kidneys to, so I was at stage 5 kidney failure.
Holy shit.
Okay. Yeah, stage 5, man. Had no clue. They told me I went through a real nasty divorce. And one thing about me is I'm very raw and real, especially on the podcast. We don't like play Christian-y, churchy. I mean, we're just raw and real, bro. This is the streets. Like, this is the real deal. With all my interviews are where I take people through exorcism and I interview them in their case studies. And we talk about their before and after story. All these people are credible too. I'm talking like intelligence officers that worked in the federal government, sports psychologists, therapists, all that kind of stuff. I work with therapists as well on the team to help clients that have psychological mental health conditions plus demons. So I handle the demon end, they handle the therapy end. But it was just a severe case, and I found Larson. I was at stage 5 kidney failure and went through a divorce as a raging alcoholic man for 5 years. I was drinking a gallon of Captain Morgan rum a week.
Holy shit.
I'm not even kidding. And I was fully functional. I'm getting employee bonuses. I'm meeting all my deadlines at work. I worked remotely. No one knew I was even drunk. I was completely functional, which is terrible. So 5 years of that, it ruined my kidneys. So I know I have demons. I still get visited by them during this time all the time. Coming in, choking me, throwing me out of bed. I'd wake up with claw marks, bite marks. My kids are experiencing this too, right? My kids are being woke up by demons hovering over them, pinning them down, knocking on the walls, you name it, all this madness. Like this stuff, unfortunately for my kids is completely normal. Like demons have been a part of their life and my life forever. Not now, because we've all been through exorcism and cleaned this up, but here's how I found Bob Larson, dude. I'm on my knees, literally sobbing because I'm going to die, dude. Stage 5 kidney failure. I'm 48 years old. I'm right in the middle of my career, making good money, raising 4 kids. And it's like, you're going to die. Okay. So I'm on my knees and I said, God, this is all I can tell you is, first of all, I'm sorry for all of this I've done, this damage. But if you could heal my kidneys, or if you can bring me a donor, I will be an exorcist. Because when I was a kid at 7 years old, I was at the church with my parents, and this traveling minister, right in the middle of a sermon, points to me out of the crowd and says, "You're going to bring deliverance and emotional healing to many people." I had no clue what it meant. I had no clue what he was talking about. But what he was saying was exorcism and emotional healing to people was what God was going to use me in. So through my years, remember, I became a Christian at 19. And so through my years of Christianity, all these people would come up to me and say, "I have demons. Can you pray for me?" Like, I'm not even seeking this out. I didn't know what I was doing. I had no training. So I'd say, "Yeah, I'll help. I'll pray. I'll do the best I can." I had no training. So I'm on my knees praying to God, telling him, "Look, I'll be an exorcist if you heal my kidneys." I said, "But I got demons. No one can help me. I got to get rid of these demons." And as I'm saying this prayer in my mind, I hear Bob Larson. Now, I haven't heard of this man since I was 19 years old, and I'm 48 years old. I stood up off my knees and I said, "Bob Larson, there is no way this dude is alive." Like, I'm thinking, this is nuts. Like, I don't know where this came from, but God, if it's you, we're going to find out. So I open up Google, I type in Bob Larson, and not only is he alive, he's the #1 world-renowned Protestant exorcist.
Wow.
And I said, whoa. So I started working with Larson, and I worked with him pretty much weekly, sometimes bi-weekly, for 14 months to rid myself of the demons that I had. After that, during that time with him, he trained me because I told him I want to do this. So he trained me himself. Then I took his International School of Exorcism and Advanced Academy of Deliverance. So these are like 40 courses taught in like a college university format. And then I shadowed senior exorcists who've been doing this like 15, 20, 25 years that he had trained for a year and a half. So they would coach me, train me. I worked with everything you can think of. Satanic ritual abuse victims, dissociative identity disorder, where people have multiple personalities. I had a ton of training in that. So I go through all this stuff, Rob, and at the end, I'm like, okay, I'm just going to throw this out here and start helping people. And I put up the Blind Exorcist podcast, and my website's justind.com. And dude, within no time, it was on like Donkey Kong, bro. And it's been moving ever since.
Yeah, and you've been freeing people of like demonic oppression, kind of, I guess. Like it's like, is it? And how prevalent would you say demonic oppression is out there, like in the world? Is it? Are a lot of people's? I mean, especially now, it seems like, right? Because it seems like people are kind of awakening, or like consciousness is raising. Maybe the veil's thinning. So a lot of these factors play into more spirits being in the world, not just spirits, but more demons being in the world, and more people being bothered. So I'm guessing you're probably pretty busy.
Yeah, I'm pretty busy. And the thing is it really, we live in an age of spirituality, right? I mean, this isn't 1950 anymore. This is an open, wide array of spirituality, and everybody is truth seeking. And honestly, each of us really are on a healing journey. We may not call it that way, but we want to find truth, and we want to find healing for the traumas we've experienced in life.
Yeah.
And so naturally people are going to gravitate towards spirituality because it is part of us. Yeah. We're not just emotions and thought and rational critical thinking where all we need is therapy. There is a sincere spiritual part of each of us that desires a connection with the supernatural, that desires a connection with something to help give us guidance, and most importantly, peace. So yeah, it's very prevalent. There's tons of stuff we can get involved in. Like even when I was really angry at my going through my divorce, I was a raging alcoholic. I mean, dude, I studied Theravada Buddhism for 5 years, the Thai forest tradition. And I mean, I was totally into this, trying to find peace, right, for the suffering I was going through. Yeah. But so to answer your question, yeah, I think the veil is thin. I think that people have at their fingertips, in their hands, on their phone, they have anything they want under the sun. And so I just worked with a woman that put an app on her phone where she could have her own sexual experience, and she pulled up a script to read aloud where she summoned demons. She summoned Lilith.
Shit, that's insane, dude.
Yeah, I don't care about swearing, bro. That ain't nothing. Trust me, my ears aren't virgins. Okay.
No, I didn't mean to interrupt you. It was just so wild that she wanted to have like a personal sexual experience, and she ended up summoning a demon. That's like,
yes, exactly. And so she summons Lilith and this incubus. Incubus is a male sex spirit. It's very well documented, and I cast it out of people a lot. So this spirit comes to her. She conjured it and has sex with her. Now, what this actually is the demon makes them feel like they're being penetrated, and it does bring them to orgasm, but it's a paranormal phenomena. It's not actual sexual intercourse like a human being would have. It's really manipulation of the mind, because when you summon a demon, it comes into your mind, and your mind is your emotions and your thoughts. Yeah. So when it's in you, it can make you feel and think anything.
Wow.
Yeah. So that, I mean, dude, I mean, it's endless, the things that people seek for pleasure, because when people are suffering, say they've been raped and or molested, or incest in the family, or say betrayal, or abandonment. Maybe they're just raised by a single parent, or they're put in foster care and they've been abused all through foster care. These people are suffering, and they're going to try to find relief. And oftentimes that relief comes through pleasure, even though it's temporary. So that's why there's such a high rate of like pornography addiction, or in this case with this young woman, it was, let's summon a demon of incubus and have sex with it so I can have pleasure and get an escape from my pain. Whoa. So yeah. Yes, sir. So again, this goes back to my social work training, man. I'm all about trauma-informed exorcism. Yeah.
Wow, this is heavy. Like, what is the most common that you see with people? Like, what are people mostly experiencing, would you say?
Well, I think most of the people I work with are female. Most men, I do work with males, quite a bit actually, but men are prideful. They don't want to open up, right? I
Yeah.
got this. Got this under. I don't need exorcism. I don't need therapy. I'm fine, right? I'm just gonna go work and make money and leave me alone. Women are quite different. They're very open. Um, they are honest, and they really are real. Okay, the women that I work with, the reason they come into the majority of people, to answer your question, that I work with are people who have went out into new age practices to find peace because of the traumas, the rapes, the incests, the abandonments, the suicides that they've experienced in life. Family members who have committed suicide, boyfriends, husbands. I mean, so much trauma. And so people are like, I want to feel peace. And so they get in all these practices, then they start getting tormented, and then they come and they go through an exorcism and they do well. I mean, most people, I always encourage them to get into therapy to work through the traumas. But I'd say the majority of the people that I work with are ex-New Agers that, go through all this stuff to try to find happiness and health. And then they come to Christ, they come for an exorcism. The other ones I deal with are like the more severe cases of warlocks, Satanists that come out, getting out of Satanism, things like that, dark witchcraft, voodoo, those sorts of things. So I've been trained very well to assist people who want to get out of that. People who are into witchcraft and the astral realm and astral projection and all that kind of stuff. They want to leave that behind and get freed up. Because spirit guides, they are demons, and when you decide to become a Christian, they attack. They're vicious. I have an actual interview with Christy on my podcast. She was in astral projection a lot. Had a beautiful, wonderful spirit guide that would take her out into the astral realm until she became a Christian. Then it turned into a full-blown demon and was no longer that kind man that would attack her. I mean, you should listen to it, dude. It's crazy.
Yeah, and one thing people should know is I heard you say this. I don't know if it's still this way, but I heard you say that your podcast is only on audio. Like, I know I do an audio podcast too. Like, Spreaker hosts my audio podcast, but then I'm on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and all that.
Oh, that's cool.
Is that where people can find your podcast, or where?
Oh, yeah, any podcast platform, Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio. I am on YouTube, and I got a big banner up there. It says audio podcast, so people know. Like, YouTube obviously isn't my primary outlet, right? But I still put it up there, right? Because I do have some people come by and listen. But yeah, definitely any podcast app you have on your phone, no matter what it is, if you open it up and type the Blind Exorcist, you'll find it. And I think Christy might be like episode 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Something like that.
We had a question from the audience. This is from one of my moderators, Jason. He says, does exorcism take effect immediately?
It depends. Yes and no. Let me explain. I'm not dodging the question. I just want to explain. Yes, if the person has no walls up and they're fully engaged. So if someone comes desperate, so I do intake questions. And so when someone books a session, they'll fill out roughly around 30 questions. And if people are gut level honest on those questions, then typically there's immediate result. if they come walled up. So say, for example, and I stick with this because it's very common what I experience, where a girl has been raped by men. Her father was abusive to her. And so inside she hates men, right? She's been through a marriage and that was bad. That husband was abusive. So she understands at some point in time, I need an exorcism. So she comes to me, but I am a man. So she's still walled up and protected. And I can't get at demons in her if there's a wall up. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it does not always work for everybody because it depends more on the actual client than me, if that makes sense. Like
Yeah.
I'm fully trained, skilled, I can help people, but it really, sometimes people come to see me, and this is an interesting topic too. And they have mental health conditions that get in the way. And sometimes those mental health conditions are undiagnosed. They don't know it. And so I'll tell them, you may want to go see a therapist and get tested to see if you have a mental health condition. So sometimes mental health conditions can get in the way.
Yeah. Wow. I'm trying to think of what other, and Sokola in the audience, she wanted to know, did the woman who summoned the sex demon, was she able to get free of it?
Oh, absolutely. So what happens with my process? Remember, I'm this critical thinker, analytical person, right? So these 30 so questions that people fill out for me, I look at that and I look for patterns, demonic patterns for generational curses that are on somebody's life or present day entry points of demons by things they may have participated in. So when I get these questions, I deep dive them to the point where, like, I've been trained in the cultures of countries and the practices, the spiritual practices, the entities that have been summoned historically in these regions. And so one of my questions on my intake is, if you've had a DNA test run, type the results out. Now all of a sudden I'm looking over these countries and I'm like, okay, we got this here. This lines up with this trauma here. And then we have this happening in her young adult years. Okay, I'm seeing a pattern here of generational witchcraft and sexual abuse, as an example. So yes, the girl got freed because she was honest. And so when I go down these questions, I have very targeted prayers that I guide someone through based on their questions. And as we work through those prayers, it weakens the legal right, in this case, for that sexual spirit to be there. Then it gets expelled and they have immediate relief. Now, exorcism is like an onion. I always use this analogy. This particular woman I worked with that had summoned Lilith and Incubus, that was one layer of the onion removed. She may have another layer of demons come up that need removed. And that could be a week away, 6 months away, a year away. But that specific layer of demons that was vexing her from that summoning, using her phone, installing an app, is gone, and she's completely free. And you can listen to this on my podcast. It's Sexual Magic. You'll see that in the title. I think it's the most recent one. And tomorrow, Monday, I've got a really good one coming out, guys, on rejection. Who hasn't been rejected in life, right? So, yeah, any questions, guys, please. I love them.
Yeah. Let me see. If you guys have any other questions for Justin, put them in the chat now before we finish up. We've been going about 50 minutes, but we can go a little longer. It's not a big deal. If you have any questions, put them in the chat. I'm trying to think of what other questions to ask. Hmm.
A
Do you ever
lot,
have?
you know.
Okay, so
Go
go
ahead.
ahead. What were you gonna say?
No, go ahead. You first.
I was gonna say, do you ever have any cases that are really hard to get the demons out and stuff?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. Dissociative identity disorder is a very complex situation within the context of exorcism. And for those who don't know what DID is dissociative identity disorder. It's where somebody goes through trauma in life and mentally they split off. And I'll explain this in an example in just a second. So they
Wait,
split
I got
off.
to tell you something about that.
Yeah.
In the community, like some of the people that I interview have been through like black ops, like targeting trauma, stuff like MK Ultra, or they say they've been involved in the secret space program. But like what I think is, and some of them have DID or they have what they'll call altars that come through. You
Yes.
know, like
Yes.
so I'm familiar with this. Like, is that a demon or what do you think? Or is that
Well,
just
let me explain.
a,
This is a fascinating topic, and I love it because, again, my social work background, I love therapy. I'm not a therapist, I'm an exorcist, but man, I love therapy. My ex wife, I was married for 15 years. She's a licensed clinical counselor. So my life has been engrossed in psychology for many, many years. So this is how this works. Let's say a girl age 5, and this is true, I work with stuff like this. Unfortunately, 5 years old, a little innocent girl is being sodomized by her father. Now imagine this, 5 years old, and let's say that little girl's name is Amber. When this happens, in her mind she says, this is not happening to me, this is happening to Sally. Now, this isn't a conscious decision. This just happens. Okay? So the sodomy isn't happening to Amber, it's happening to Sally. So Sally takes that pain and holds that out of the consciousness of Amber. So that's one way disassociation happens, through trauma. Now, Amber's 21 and she has a 5-year-old Sally separated in her mind, holding that pain and trauma. And Amber's not aware of this. But sometimes she acts like a 5-year-old. And people laugh at first and then they're like, something's wrong here. What's going on?
Yeah.
Well, she's disassociative. The other way disassociation happens is in satanic ritual abuse, where they typically provide at a 5-year-old, 6-year-old young children sexual pleasure and severe pain at the same time.
Oh God.
And the psyche can't handle that, so it splits off, and then they program that altar through colors, through sounds, and trigger words, and so it's a mess. So, for example, if someone has a trigger word, is like, I'm just making this up, like, go home, as an example. So this little girl gets this altar put in her at 6 years old, and they're repeating, go home, go home, go home, come to the call, come to the call, go home, go. And so this is what this altar's been programmed. And so phone rings, she's 40 years old. Hello, go home. All of a sudden, she goes into a trance-like state, hangs the phone up, and goes to an exact point where the cult wants her to be. So that's how disassociation works, one way, in the context of ritual abuse. Yeah.
That's fascinating. Well, I've seen if we have any other questions. Let me see here. I guess that's it.
Awesome.
This is from Rachel. She says, "How does he fill the space after a demon's fully expelled?"
Oh, that's a great question, Rachel. Thank you for that. Again, I'm talking from a Christian worldview. So in the case of the young woman I worked with that had the sex demon, right, that got expelled.
Yeah.
As a Christian, when we surrender our life to Christ, the Holy Spirit comes inside of us. And so I just pray that the Holy Spirit brings healing and comfort to that area of her. And that's it, And so, and oftentimes at the end, when I'm working with clients, I usually get one or two reactions. One is crying of joy because the torment is over. And it's like a gentle touch from the Holy Spirit that cleanses them from, the vexing. And other times they are full of so much joy that, they laugh. So the actual cleansing of the environment outside of the actual client, when the demons are expelled, they are expelled fully out of the client and out of the premises. So they're gone. There's no real need to like cleanse it. Now, if a home has demons, meaning entities walking through the home, scratches on the walls, doors slamming in the middle of the night, that's a house possession. And so as an exorcist, and I'm sure people have seen this, right? Roman Catholic exorcists go in the home and they bless it and they cleanse it. Sometimes these homes are built on Indian burial grounds over there in Pennsylvania, Rob, and
Yeah, I know that. Yeah,
Ohio. We got these Indian burial grounds, and sometimes, dude, it's crazy in those houses.
You want to hear? You want to hear a story? This is kind of off. Where I went to school when I was a kid. It was like two couple towns over. It was called Fort Crawford Elementary School. The school was built on a fort, so like an old old fort, and we used to find Indian heads, or what do they call Indian arrowheads?
Arrowheads,
Like,
yeah.
We would find arrowheads playing, and when we were kids, like it was common. It was, what I mean, back in the 80s to find arrowheads.
Same. We found arrowheads all the time. Absolutely, and so. The Indian burial grounds, that can bring a lot. I can't remember the name of this book that I read, but there was this home in Pennsylvania that was really, really possessed. And I wish I could remember the name of that book so people could read it. It was absolutely fascinating. So this stuff, I mean, this guy actually had blood dripping down the walls.
Holy shit.
And so he actually took a vial and got a sample of it and took it to a lab in Pittsburgh, and they analyzed it, and it was actually a fungus that was coming down the wall. But the demons caused this, right? It was just red fungus dripping down the wall, looked just like blood.
Yeah.
Smells, common ways you could tell demons are around, or smells, that just there's nothing around, but you smell. For example, smoke or fire, or you smell putrid smells that are like there's nothing there in the area. Those are signs that demons are around. Surroundings becoming cold. That means demons are present. Intrusive thoughts, in your mind. Jump out the window, kill yourself. All of a sudden, uncontrollable lust comes over you. You can't even stop it. These are indicators of demons as well. There's just different seeing orbs. Because demons.
Yeah, I heard some orbs can be demonic, or like I heard some orbs can be definitely demons, right?
Oh, absolutely. Because demons can shapeshift into whatever they want. So they love shapeshifting into orbs. But from a Christian exorcist perspective, they're just demons. So if like an orb was there and I was there, and I would say, in the name of Jesus Christ, I command you to come to attention and come out of that form, it would just literally transmute right back into a demon of what it is. So the clients I work with, dude, this is just normal. Like little girls that come in dancing around and come up and touch them and put something in them. Ancestors that come and visit them in their dreams and feed them food. Very common in African ancestry. That's passing on generational curses. Straight up demons that just come. Aliens. I wrote an article on alien abduction. It perfectly parallels demons. So if you go to my website, I'll share this link because you guys will find this fascinating. This is interesting stuff. JustinD.com/explore. Click on this category, Truth Unfiltered, and you'll see the alien article there. I apologize, I can't remember. But on that article, I show a table comparing alien abduction to demon possession.
It makes sense to me because why? I've always said, why do they have to come covertly in the night? Why do they have to do everything?
Yes.
Why do they have to like steal DNA? Like they do. Like I used to listen to Dr. David Jacobs. I'm big into the alien abduction. Matter of fact, I might be doing a presentation on alien abduction. Like
okay,
at this girls' conference in a month. I haven't decided what I'm going to present on yet, but I'm going to be there. I know that. But I mean, it's either going to be on like ancient aliens or alien abductions. But like I used to listen to like people like Bud Hopkins and Dr. David Jacobs. I mean, they were fascinating for like their abduction research. And one thing I found that David Jacobs said one time, he said that the Greys were able to, when they stare a woman in the eyes, they're able to hook into the optic nerve. And what that does is it stimulates sexual response so they can take an egg. That to me, I think it's like, isn't that fascinating? It's insane. Well, it's absolutely insane. But it's like holy shit. Like and it's like demons and aliens know the body that we have. It's like our bodies are like computers, and like it's like demons and aliens know gateways to get in. They know the whole workings. They can manipulate our mind. It's insane. So yeah, I do see the parallels.
Yeah, it's very similar. And of course, from an exorcist perspective, we would say that aliens are demons, right? So we're going to say they actually are. But here's what's interesting is in order to have communications with these, like the aliens that are these elite higher intelligence, like they're going to bring this oneness and this sort of vibe, right? They have to be channeled. Yeah. So people invite them in and allow them to write through them, which is just automatic handwriting, which is a witchcraft practice, tapping into the spirit realm. And so it's like, okay, if you're this highly advanced technological race that's somehow going to enlighten us, why would you need a body? Like, if you're that technologically advanced, you just can't pick up the pen yourself?
Yeah.
Just food for thought, right? I'm not looking for an answer. I'm just like, right? So, yeah.
And why are they so interested always in DNA? That's what I've found peculiar. Like it's always like they're always trying to take aliens are always trying to take DNA. And what's also interesting about aliens is they never want to give up any information. Like I knew a couple fully conscious. I didn't know them, but I remember listening to a couple fully conscious contactees that I trusted their word. Like Jim Sparks, who used to come on the Art Bell show, and he would say some fascinating stuff about like he said the Greys would let him walk around on the ship and stuff and. He said they never really wanted to like give up any information, and like a lot of abductees are told that like we're ruining the earth. It's like, well, we know that. I mean, like look at humans. I mean, humans are so crazy. It's like, I mean, but so really they're not really giving us anything when you think about it. They're not giving us any information about who they are or why they come here. You know what I mean?
Right. And they cause terror.
Yeah. We did have another question. This was from Sovereign Cosmic Wildman. He always comes up with really good questions.
Awesome.
He says, how does he treat a situation where demonic stronghold is too strong in an area due to a vortex zone, due to it being a ley line convergence? Or have you ever had that?
No, because again, from a Christian worldview, demons are subject to the authority of Christ. So if you read the Christian Bible, when Jesus Christ would perform exorcisms, the demons would be absolutely terrified when Christ approached them. They would fall on the ground and scream in terror and say, "Are you here to punish us before our time?" These are demons that manifest in people, speaking through them in absolute terror because they understood that Christ had supreme authority over them, right? So as Christians, we've been given that authority to help people. And so there is no, yes, exorcism can be struggling and difficult and challenging, but at the end of the day, the demons have to submit to the authority of Christ. I am nothing, right? They're not submitting to me. They have to submit to the authority of Christ, that's working through me, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I don't, yeah, go ahead.
We had another question from Sovereign Cosmic Wildman. He says, I'll put it up on the screen, guys. He says, how does he view demons as parasites? And has he tried garlic and other parasite detoxing foods and spices to like help with, along with this other stuff you do, you know?
Yeah, that's a great question. And again, this is getting into, practices of spirituality where parasites are demons. So when someone comes to me and they say, I have parasites, I say, no, you have demons. Now, and please bear in mind who's asking that. I am sharing this just respectfully from a Christian perspective. I don't mean to come across as like, you're wrong. No, I get it. I talk with people all the time about parasites. But from an exorcist perspective, no, you have demons. And so as I begin to target those demons, they come up and they speak through the person. And so sometimes that means that the person's eyes are dilated black, their voice changes. People are wondering, how does he know that being blind? Well, I work with sighted exorcists too. So we do see a lot of, I would say, bizarre things during sessions with clients. Not always, but so with the parasite thing, I just say they're demons and they need expelled. Yeah.
Wow, that's cool. Okay. Okay, let's see here. Let's see if we have other questions here.
And thank you for the questions. I appreciate them. I love just sharing kind of this world with people because it's definitely interesting.
Willow says in the audience, she says, parasites, demons, does it label really matter? She says it feels like it's an energy signature. Would you say that? Would you agree with that?
Well, again, I'm a Christian. So yeah, I think wording matters, from an exorcist perspective. Because in your universe, they are parasites. It is energy spectrum, vortexes, that sort of thing. But that's a totally different spirituality, right? Than what I'm using. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah,
it's kind of like apples and oranges, right? They're fruit, but they're different.
Yeah. I'm trying to see if we have any other questions before we go. I think that's it. Yeah, this was amazing, Justin. Yeah, thank you so much for doing this. Do you want to tell people where they can find you? And yeah, this was awesome.
Thank you, Rob, and thank you everyone for listening, and thank you so much for the questions. You can, again, website is the Blind Exorcist. You can find, there's a bunch of episodes. I encourage you to scroll down through and just find something that looks interesting. And then my website is justind.com, and that's where people can, I offer like a free 20-minute consultation if people feel like, they have demons and they want to see, do I need an exorcism? So a lot of times I meet with people and I'm like, no, you need therapy, or I'll say, no, you don't need an exorcism. And sometimes I'm like, yeah, you need one.
Yeah.
So that's an option as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm excited for. I mean, I'm gonna message you after the show about and thank you. Yeah, thank you for coming on. This was awesome.
Well, thank you for having me, and it's so cool that we're neighbors.
I know, right? Yeah, I know. We're yeah. Let me just say, guys, do you guys have any other questions before we go? I'll give you guys one minute to get your last questions in. If anybody has any questions, just put them in the chat, and we'll before we close. And yeah, I do a lot of shows, Justin. Like sometimes I do 2-3 shows a day. Sometimes I did.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I know. I don't think there's any other podcaster doing like me. Like I kind of go
Wow.
off sometimes. Like
That's great.
I like it. I do it full time. It's like my full time. I don't make a lot of
Yeah.
money from it, but it's like kind of like I just love doing it. I
Something you
love telling
enjoy.
stories,
Yeah, absolutely, man. That's awesome. Yeah, I
Yeah.
put out one episode a month. That's it.
Wow.
That's the much because I got to balance working with clients and then actually producing a podcast. So it's work, as you know.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it is a lot. It's a lot of work. Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess there's no other questions. Well, thank you so much for everybody for tuning in. I appreciate you all. And thank you, Justin. And I will see you guys all tomorrow. Tomorrow we have at 5 p.m. Eastern, we have Shaden Sean Nilgi. He's going to talk about alien encounters and some weird stuff going on up in Alaska, some maybe secret space experiences or some black ops stuff. And then at 8 p.m. Eastern, we have Jack Flynn, which will be he'll talk about something similar, his own black ops weird trauma experiences. So look forward to tomorrow, guys, and I will see you then. And thank you so much, Justin, and have a good night, everyone. And until